Chapter 8 is out, and it is a total game changer. It's added so many new mysterious elements to the Piggy tale, and also given us a closer look at Mr. P's background. However, we've also received some clues hidden in plain sight that something huge is coming in a future chapter. Everybody, I think there's a traitor in our midst. Make sure you watch till the end of the video and I'll tell you why. First things first, for this theory, I'm going to assume that T.S.P is simply the initials of Mr. Potato. We've seen in previous chapters that notes are signed off as Mr. P, implying Mr. Potato is his last name. So, assuming that P stands for potato, what is his first and middle name? I've had a look at some information from the Mr. Potato Comes to Town story on the Peppa Pig Wikipedia, but there is no mention of his first names. However, there is a quote where he is referred to as a super potato. Could this possibly be the S? I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Let's get on to the notes. To those looking for safety, this is the worst place to look. So this is probably the least important note of the chapter. It's just Mr. P informing outsiders not to enter, obviously due to a mad clown on the loose and an infected Foxy caged up. However, it is interesting to note that Mr. P has at least some empathy by warning travelers before they enter. It gives us a glimpse into his psyche and tells us maybe he's not entirely cruel. Do not open. Monster inside. These notes refer to poor Foxy, who was doomed to rot in a small cage. However, he wasn't a monster before he was locked in there, which leads us on to, why did my friends leave me in here? This note tells us he was still conscious in the cage before he became a monster. It's most likely Mr. P poisoned Foxy with a potion and then placed him in there, since we have proof the transformation isn't instantaneous through the bunny cutscene and the chalkboard writing by the teacher in chapter 5. Also, did you catch that? Friends. There were multiple people who left him there. Mr. P has friends. I will revisit this later, but there's also a possibility that T.S.P could be a group name, like Tigry, Sheepy, Potato. Now on to the final and most interesting note. Doggy and Foxy got what was coming to them. This is insane. Mr. P has a reason for attacking Doggy that time in the forest. It also shows us that Foxy's infection takes place after the forest chapter, meaning this could happen either before the school or after the events of hospital, since Mr. P was with us in between those events. Personally, my money is on after the hospital. It seems Doggy and Foxy did something to make Mr. P very mad, quite possibly by accident, since Foxy doesn't know why they left him in there. This makes me think he may have insulted Mr. P somehow, maybe told him to get over the death of his loved one. There's always a possibility that he took it the wrong way. He might be a bit crazy. However, I'm still curious as to how he knows Officer Doggy, and I hope we find out more next chapter. Well, what do we have here? During the ending cutscene, we get a small glimpse at an image of a beautiful female potato. This is an image of Mademoiselle Potato, who appears in Peppa Pig and is almost definitely the person Mr. P is trying to cure. This throws out my previous theory that Mr. P's daughter or lover was Zompiggy, unless he was trying to transplant her brain. Now it's just getting too muddled. But hold up a second. Notice how Mrs. Potato's photo actually includes a fully developed and rendered model. In the past, photos have simply just been images downloaded online and pasted into the frames. But this one has a full model. A lot of hard work to go through just for one picture, unless it wasn't just for one picture. I believe this is a hint that Mademoiselle Potato will be showing up soon. Something I'm very excited for. Let me know what you think below. Now let's move on to some future map predictions. So I see a lot of predictions that Chapter 9 is going to take place on the farm, which is a very good theory, but I'm sure you've already heard about it since the farm is right next to Potato City and all in the Peppa Pig anime. However, what do you think about the sports center? In Mr. Potato's very first episode, Mr. Potato Comes to Town, he attends the grand opening of his very own sports center. What better place for him to base his evil, dark activities than in a modified sports center? Perhaps modified into a lab. He could even be selling out potions in the form of Gatorade. Potato Raid! I think that's a big possibility for a future map. It could coincide with the lab map I hear everyone talking about. What if he turned the insides into a lab? Maybe he could have one underneath in the basement. And it also fits in with an interesting pattern that occurs with the maps. Notice for how the last 8 chapters, every 4th map was outdoors. We've had house, station, gallery, forest, outdoors. Then we've gone school, hospital, metro, carnival, outdoors. It's been confirmed that there will be 12 chapters, which fits perfectly into the formula. Chapter 9, 10, 11, indoor maps leading up to a grand finale in chapter 12 with a big old outdoor map. And who knows, perhaps a Piggy-style boss battle. Whatever happens, I'm excited to see what Minitoon comes up with next. Now, for the part you've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe there is a traitor in our midst. Remember that note? Why did my friends leave me in here? There are other friends willing to help Mr. Potato with his evil schemes. This can explain how everyone became infected so fast. It wasn't just Mr. P transforming people. There were more. However, we haven't met anyone yet who could be helping him. Or have we? Isn't it awfully convenient how Pedro and Zizzy managed to show up exactly as we're hunting for Mr. P in the place where we chased him to, and somehow he escaped? I wonder how. Something doesn't add up. Sure, they saved us, but Mr. P did too when we collapsed and had to go to hospital. Think about it. What better reveal than the very ones who saved our lives were the ones working for Mr. P this entire time? Now, I'm not saying it's both of them. One of them could have told the other to come check for survivors in the carnival. However, we must be very careful going ahead. Have I missed anything? What's your theory? Let me know down below. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.